Monster Hunter Wilds is not Monster Hunter. No, not just Monster Hunter. It is so much more! Oh yes, my fellow hunters, hello and welcome to me talking about Monster Hunter Wilds. For real though, I have been bursting with excitement to say just any of the words to do with the awesome things we have witnessed and all of the bajillion questions they have raised. I have been away the last few days. It's really unfortunate timing, but hey, Colin's been doing a phenomenal job at using his one loud trailer for a new Monster Hunter game to have quite the discussion with you guys, and of course, behind the scenes, I've been telling him a lot of my thoughts and theories too that have bled into what he's been talking about. But so many of you, and it really does mean a lot that this has happened, have wanted to hear, well, my take and reaction, and I am more than happy to give it. In fact, nothing and no one could hold me back from doing so. I do apologize if my voice is a little bit off, because I'm a lot a bit ill, but again, nothing will hold me back. So, what do I mean with this? It's not Monster Hunter, because obviously, yes, it is Monster Hunter, but look, the sheer scope, scale, and apparent changes that are on display here elevate it to a level that we have never experienced. It is going in a direction that we never dared to imagine or hope, and it seems like more than ever they are realizing what was the ultimate dream of this beautiful series when it first launched near 20 years ago. If you'd have shown someone who was playing Monster Hunter Freedom Unite in the second generation Monster Hunter World, it would have blown their mind. If you'd shown them Monster Hunter Wilds, just this little teaser trailer, well, I'm not sure they could fully cope or comprehend what they were witnessing as it unfolded. And I say that with almost certainty because as me and Colin sat there watching the Game Awards, watch this begin, I had the initial reaction of, what is this? I mean, it looks actually like incredible, but what it's Monster! That's a great sword! And incidentally, it's really nice to see this gorgeous greatsword design and it not be like the kind of bits on sticks that World was rightly a bit criticized for. And I hope that this means in Wilds, every weapon is a full-on actual design as Monster Hunter should be. But that little moment in the first 5 to 10 seconds says a lot, because obviously, I like Monster Hunter a lot. I've played it a lot, every single game and then some. So even having a moment of not instantly identifying it really speaks to just how different, but not at all in a bad way, it is. It's still evidently Monster Hunter. The core, the beating heart is there, but it is pushing boundaries something fierce. The sheer volume of actual monsters on screen at once. The fact that we're likely going to be able to hunt or interact with 2 weapons at once is ridiculous. The mount and everything it implies, the camp supplies on it, maybe mobile camps, but just the jumping, the gliding, the gliding, the gliding! It's gonna be an open world game, right? It is a rule ever since goddamn Breath of the Wild that every open world game has to have some kind of method of gliding. I mean, that's a slam dunk if I've ever seen one. But look, that's not actually, I think, a far-fetched take. And of course, this many days after it released, it's one that many people have had, but it's one that I really kind of want to hammer home because the idea of a fully open world Monster Hunter is incredible. And dare I say, it might even go as far as, like, the MMO level? the fact that we didn't get a flagship reveal, potentially, which is really strange compared to every other Monster Hunter's initial reveal, is quite telling, and there's a lot to dig into there. In fact, that is going to be a topic for its own video, because there really is so much to say, but that might mean that the scope here is such that it's not even ready for flagship. Like, you can't even handle that yet. This is what you're getting, right? And if we all have our own mount, we all have this massive world, we can all operate it with this kind of freedom in these wilds, well, then that really is wild. I'm sorry, that's going to happen a lot throughout all of these discussion and theory videos as we wait for 2025 to roll around in the slowest, most painful 2024 ever, so I do apologize in advance. But no, I think, like, fully Frontier-esque level is definitely a reach, but I would be very surprised if this isn't open world. Literally guiding lands, but it's the only map, and it's absolutely ginormous. I mean, the scope and scale of what we saw, especially at the end of it all opening up, is kinda silly, but in the most glorious of ways. And the thing is, I did have a little chat a while back whether we thought Monster Hunter 6 was going to be Monster Hunter 6 or Monster Hunter World 2 in essence. And now that we have seen this, I feel like they've somehow managed to do both. Monster Hunter 6 in that it's unlike anything we've had before, but Monster Hunter World 2 in that there is clearly a world backbone to it. We have the slinger, we have the clutch claw, we have the same, obviously, visual style, but enhanced. And on that note, by the way, a few people I've seen have been disappointed with the looks. Number one, it still looks gorgeous, but number two, we're over a year away. If you look at the original reveal of World compared to what we ended up with, yeah, night and day. So I really would take the pure fidelity with a grain of salt as it currently stands. There will be a lot of changes in the over year of development left, and I am sure that they will make a big difference. Getting to see this whole sandstorm shenanigans and wondering how it might connect with things. Obviously, it brings you to the logo, which in tradition of Monster Hunter has as many monsters or monster heads as is the generation. World had 5 monster heads for the 5th gen, and now Wilds has 6 monster heads for the 6th gen, though undeniably 2 are significantly more prominent than the 4 smaller ones, so maybe they actually do imply something that will feature in the game. A elder dragon, a final boss, a being causing this weather concern. Though I feel like concern is a sort of underselling a sandstorm, lightning storm filled with hordes of monsters. In any case, that one really is a conundrum to me, because typically extreme weather in a Monster Hunter game, especially in this mysterious land with suspiciously man-made looking lightning rods, which makes me feel like maybe we'll be seeing some ancient civilization influence, ruins, technology kind of going on, digging in this arid plain looking environment, and so on and so forth. I mean, Wilds is a lot. It could be, as Codden thought, the Wilds of like an African themed one, open plains, though I also think the logo definitely has some Aztec vibes going on, and that kind of side of things. It could be Wilds like a whole new frontier, like an untamed wild land that we've never been to. It having the slinger and the scout flies would imply that it could just be the next destination of a fleet, maybe not the 5th fleet, but a new, unexplored, new world, if that makes sense, that is truly untamed in it like nothing else. That's why we can't have bases, we can't have camps, it's too dangerous. We have to have the mount and make it mobile to actually explore it, and we're going to have a real focus on discovery. And indeed, just the font of the Monster Hunter in the Monster Hunter Wilds being the same font as Monster Hunter World would imply that we are, well, again, spiritually succeeding world, and we're still in a new world or the new world, but in that kind of region and theme. But in either case, if the Elder Dragon is kind of behind the lightning storm weather, then clearly this Elder Dragon has existed for a long time, long enough that an entire creature has evolved to deal with it with lightning rod spikes on its back, which is super cool. A herbivore that exists in a lightning-filled land for so many thousands of years that it has evolved a lightning rod spike to not only direct it away from the rest of its herd, but also as a defensive measure against monsters that either also run from the storms or use them as cover to hunt. I think it's absolutely ingenious, and you see so much of the wondrous ecology that I adore these games for instantly in this little teaser. And it really is a little teaser that says a lot. You've even got then these rocks that are used for the jumping bit on the mount that have the kind of blue ori crystals, and their general formation very much makes sense for a land filled with constant lightning strikes, because they very much resemble fulgurite, which is a rock formation that forms when the earth is struck by lightning, known as fossilized lightning. And while it would take one monstrous strike to create something as big as we see being jumped across, you could easily attribute that to, an Elder Dragon that is just that powerful that it can strike with such ferocity, it creates fulgurite formations of this scope. It could even explain what the kind of not quite natural but not quite man-made looking big swirly thing in the very center of the land actually is. The mother of all strikes happened there, and that's how it's been warped and left as a result. And I think that's very, very fascinating. There is a lot to dig into when it comes to just the serpents in the logo, and you can bet that's going to get its own talk very soon. The scope being presented here is unlike nothing I would have thought before going into this, yet it also shows so little. As I said, no flagship, potentially no new large monster, though I still kind of think the bear things are large monsters, and we will see a sort of pack of large monster system, or you have to kind of choose one and hunt it and lead it away from the others. And we've not seen any actual combat, we've not seen a weapon drawn, we've not seen anything Monster Hunter-y. And there you get back to why I started with this with the framing that I did. It's honestly the thought that struck me the most. This is Monster Hunter Wilds, this is Monster Hunter 6, but it's not Monster Hunter. It's so much more. And that is to think about, to know, to see, and while it is a painfully long wait, it's one that I truly am excited for, because it is so much time to really dig in, theorize, and talk, especially as we get new reveals next year to add to the piles of mysteries that this has summoned. There really is a lot we could draw on. There are mythologies that are being called upon that I really want to explore in future talks. There is a lot we can say, a lot we can speculate, and a lot of it makes an alarming amount of sense. And I just really do think the mount is very, very cool. I am glad that if mounts are going to be back, it is not the Palamute. I've got nothing against the Palamute, but having it a more fitting raptor-esque creature like that, I think is much more aesthetically nice, and it just is a little bit less out of place. Like, imagine this trailer, but it's a dog running between the herd in the kind of style of Rise and Sunbreak. It just wouldn't be, it'd be a little bit off, wouldn't it? I think there is plenty to uncover here, there is plenty to solve, there is enigmas to unwrap and puzzles to figure out, and I really look forward to doing all of that with you guys. There is everything to love, and I just explicitly trust what Ryozo and the team are cooking and have been cooking, and it's gonna be, well,
so tasty!
And then some. All I want is hunts where we can't endlessly restock, That might be random to say, but just let us actually have to make do with our supplies. I think that's a really nice part of Monster Hunter, and something that does kind of make me think might happen based on the pack supplies on the mount, perhaps being a limited source of what you can do. In any case, I wonder if we're even going to get a hub village, per se. It really does seem like there's a focus on travel, on making your way. There might be few and far between. You might have to travel between them very specifically without one central main hub, maybe little outposts, or you have to find them. And I feel like there is just a lot of potential for an actual story to unfold in such an open and clearly rich, discoverable world that is going to be Wilds. The TLDR is, I think this is an amazing direction for Monster Hunter. I think it's also an inevitable direction. I think it's clearly what they've always wanted to do. Go big and go detailed with the land and the ecology and everything that populates it. And I am beyond excited for what it will bring. For now then, let me know what you're thinking. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. And until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.